I try and come up with a theme when I do these videos, kind of to tie everything together. But this week, it's just a bunch of Hoyas that I haven't shown you that are definitely worth a look. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at 7 odds and ends and a planter hack. So I've got the kids all lined up for you over here, and they're ready for their 15 minutes of fame. Actually, it won't be that much, but they don't have watches, so don't tell them. I told them it was 15 minutes. And let's get to the first Hoya. And the first Hoya up is this beautiful little Hoya collina IR26. This was formerly known as Hoya species Biak Island because it's from Biak Island in New Guinea, actually on the island of Guinea in Indonesia. And it was first published in 1913 by our friend Rudolf Schlechter in Botanische Jahrbucher für Systematik. My apologies to the German speakers. This is a really cool little Hoya. It's right now it's got a lot of sun stress. Let's see if I can. Very, very neat. Very cool little leaves that have some, let's see if I can do this without pouring water everywhere. Just nice little shape. This one and I struggled for a little bit at first. I probably moved him to pon a little too soon. He needed to get a little bit more established root system because when you change the substrate, you're going to do some root damage, and if it's got a better system to start with, then it's going to have a better chance of survival. But once he settled in, just like, let's see if I can do this without hurting it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little leaves. If I can find a picture of him when he first showed up, I'll put it over here. But it's now been a really steady grower to the point where, I don't like that there. To the point where he needs to be up potted. And good. Because he's just, yeah. Okay, there's a lot of roots in there. Okay, so it's time to be up potted. He's growing really, really well. It hasn't bloomed for me yet. There's a lot of aerial roots, but I don't see anything. This looks like it could be a peduncle down here, but I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, this is a very, very cool little plant. This one came from the Plant Nanny on Etsy. Once it's settled in, it's been doing really well. And yeah, if you're like, if you have to have splash on your leaves and they have to be big and veiny and everything else, this is probably not your vibe, but it's very cool little plant. This is Hoya collina IR26. And the next one up I would have loved to have shown you sooner, and there's a reason why I didn't. This is Hoya elliptica. Now, according to my notes, Hoya elliptica is from Sumatra, Peninsular Malaysia, Thailand, and Kalimantan and Sabah on Borneo. It was first published in 1883 in Flora of British India by our friend Joseph Dalton Hooker, and he named it elliptica for the shape of its leaves, which are elliptical. See, isn't that neat how that works? This is, everybody loves elliptica. Lots of people have them. It's not like it's particularly rare or unique, but it's just still a beautiful Hoya. Mine started off with a vine and a couple leaves, and it did okay. It wasn't doing great. I moved it to pond and self-watering. It was doing okay. It wasn't doing great. I moved it up to this 6-inch pot, and it started to decline. It was not doing well, and I was very worried about it. And then it put out 3 new vines in rapid succession, and they grew so quick that they were up to the top of the trellis in no time at all. And they have just, since then, it's just been doing its wonderful, beautiful elliptica thing. It has bloomed for me. Where's the peduncle? It has bloomed twice over here on this peduncle. I'm not going to endanger it at all because I want it to bloom again. The bloom's very pretty, and if I can find pictures of them, they'll be over here. One of the things that I think helped this, I heard that they don't like a lot of bright light, which is where he had been. So I moved him, rather than being under the grow light, he's off to the side of the grow light. So it's slightly gentler light. And it has just been doing really well. I mean, those leaves are beautiful. If you don't find elliptica interesting or attractive or something you'd want to have, then we need to have a long talk about that. This, since it settled in and has been growing, has been a good grower for me. Oh, whose bloom is that? Oh, that's a spent elliptica bloom. It's just been a good grower. This is a really great plant. They're fairly easy to find. There's a few cultivars that I've seen around, so I can't recommend any one in particular. This just came as Hoya elliptica, and this came from the Planted Veteran on Etsy. This is just a really pretty plant. Everyone should have one of these in their collection. This is Hoya elliptica. Now the next little guy is a Hoya caudata. This is Hoya caudata gold. There's Hoya caudata Sumatra, there's Hoya caudata affinity Sumatra or Hoya affinity caudata. There's Hoya caudata silver, but for my money, the gold has some of the prettiest leaves. Hoya caudata was originally found in peninsular Malaysia. It's native to South Thailand, peninsular Malaysia, Singapore, Sumatra, Borneo, and Sabah and Sarawak only on Borneo. It was first published in 1883 in the Flora of British India by our friend Joseph Dalton Hooker. And the name comes from the Latin caudatus, which means tailed. And that applies to the blossoms, which have these little tails, hence the name. That's just, sorry if it's banging into the microphone. I'm trying not to mess with this much at all. The new leaves come in looking like that. They mellow out to that and mature to something like that. Oh man, this is just, I can't get over that. Now, a lot of people don't like this kind of leaf. I don't know what's wrong with you. but these are absolutely gorgeous. They're a little firm. The stem gets a little woody, which means they're not as succulent as you would like or imagine. So they're going to need regular access to moisture. I have Hoya caudata Sumatra. I have two of those actually, and this one. And I can't say enough things about how cool these leaves are. He's growing really well. It took him a little while to get settled in. They always, like I said, they always do when you transfer them to self-watering and pond, if they didn't come that way. There is just the beginning of roots coming out the bottom, so now is a really good time for me to move him to a larger pot. Although I am very reluctant to do that because I don't want to mess with this. This is so cool. I waited so long for this one to start growing, and now that it is, I'm very pleased with it. Definitely worth keeping your eyes out for. Nothing wrong with regular Hoya caudata or Hoya caudata Sumatra or the silver. I just really love Hoya caudata gold, which is what this is, and it came from my friends at Plants Wake You Up. If you visit their site, you're going to have to go looking for the Hoyas. They're reworking things there, but click on the menu bars and it's there. This is a very cool plant. This is Hoya caudata gold. Next little buddy is Hoya parviflora. This was labeled as parviflora splash, but that just means it's got more splash than it normally would, I think. It's not like it's a separate species or anything. Anyway, Hoya parviflora was originally found around the border area of Burma, Myanmar, and it's now found to be native to Assam, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, peninsular Malaysia, and Sumatra. It was first published in 1834 in Contributions to the Botany of India by Robert White. And this kid is, let's see if I can, how to do this well. It's just so pretty. There's a good, yeah, look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. And the leaves are all like that. So if you need to have splash on your Hoyas, yeah, we're okay with this. This one has been a good and steady grower from day one. It has never given me a moment's difficulty, other than this size pot or this size plant in this size pot. I need to keep refilling it. Like I watered this yesterday and it already needs a drink. Yeah, my little gauge it needs a drink. And it's time for it to be up potted and retrellised because there's a lot going on here that could use some room to move. This is just cool. The leaves are absolutely beautiful. Look for one that's got lots of splash, and this is one of those Hoyas that it's like, this has not disappointed me. It has not bloomed for me yet, but the leaves are so beautiful, and it's been such a good grower that I'm not disappointed in that. It'd be cool if it did, don't get me wrong, but when you've got, come on, Sorry about the microphone thing again, but he's everywhere. When you've got gorgeous leaves like that, you focused for me so nice the first time, and now look. There you go. When you've got leaves like that, it's just very cool. You may have noticed there is some sulfur still on this one. This one also needs a good shower, so I will attend to that. But it didn't seem to be, I mean, when I had the flat mite outbreak this early spring, it didn't seem to be too terribly affected by it, but he got treated anyway, because I'm not letting those things harbor anywhere. This is just really cool. It's really pretty. Good grower. I can't say enough good things. This is Hoya parviflora. My next odd and end is this Hoya species SR2007-13 Loei Province. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This was discovered in 2007 by, and I want to try and get her name right, Sarisa Somadi. And it is a beautiful, beautiful plant. It sort of has that latifolia vibe to it, if you know what I mean. And as far as I can tell, it's native to central, because of the shape of northern Thailand, it's like central Thailand. And I'll put it on the map that you are either looking at now or will see shortly. This one sat for a little bit, and then it decided to grow. And since then, since it got established, you know, as I keep saying, when you change the substrate, even if you're going from, like, you know, Barkensvag to Barkensvag, the roots are going to get jostled a little bit, no matter how careful you are, and it takes some time to recover. Well, when you're going from whatever this was in to pond and self-watering, anyway, you know the scoop. So it started taking off. It's been putting out a bunch of leaves. The internodal spacing seems to be pretty, not severe. It's big. So the only reason I got a bunch of leaves up here is because there's two vines moving through there. It's a very, very pretty plant. This one again came from Plants Wake You Up. It's just really neat. I could probably stand to retrellis it. It's the vines are fairly firm, so I'm going to have to be very careful not to bend them or snap one. But very cool, something decidedly different, worth checking out. This is Hoya species SR2007-13 Loei Province. The next kit up is my Hoya nummularioides. Now, Hoya nummularioides was originally found on the Cambodia-Laos border. It's native to Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. It was first published in 1912, and I'm apologizing in advance, in Flora Générale de l'Indochine by Julien Noël Constantin, or Constantine. I'm not sure how he pronounced it. I'll drop him a thoughtful note. And of course, there's a story with this one. I was out looking for Hoyas at a place called Peckham's, which, if you know Rhode Island, it's in the southern part of the East Bay. And I asked if they had any, and the lady said yes, they were about 4 greenhouses back on the right-hand side. And so I trudged back there, and there was a whole tray of regular old green carnosas, which I had, so I didn't need. But there was one that wasn't. And it was one of those, which of these is not like the others? So I thought I knew what it was, and I picked it up and took it up to the cashier and said, there's no name on this, but there's a QR code. Can you tell me what it is? And so she took out her phone and she scanned it and she said, I'm going to butcher this. And then she said, and I said, nummularioides, and she said, that's it. This is a very, very interesting plant. It's, the leaves, when you first look at them, they don't look like much. When you touch them, they're, I was going to say lightly pubescent. That's not it. They're pubescent, but it's not very long furriness. It's definitely there. It's just not long like velvet. It's short like short velvet. I don't know. It's a very interesting plant. So I brought it home and it grew a little bit. It was in kind of a peaty, perlite-y, barky mix. And it did okay, and I put out a little bit of growth, but not much. And I thought, well, let's move it to, at that time I had been doing self-watering and pond. I thought, well, let's give it a try. And so I moved it, and it grew a little bit more, but not very much. And the plant was healthy, the plant was doing fine. I was a little frustrated because, of course, I wanted it to grow really well. So after a while, it had grown a bit more, and I thought, let's just put it in a big self-watering pot. This is a 7-inch self-watering pot, and see what happens. And I had it under good bright light, and I was giving it, the nutrient solution, the whole bit. And it still wasn't doing, it wasn't dying, but it wasn't thriving. And I kind of said, okay, I need that space under the grow lights for something that's actually going to grow. So I took this and moved it down. So it's not on the grow shelves, it's on a small wooden chest next to the grow shelves. But it's still not getting very much fallout. And since I moved it down there, it's done very, very well. So it appears that, at least under my conditions, nummularioides can do well in lower light than I thought it would. I was sure that when I moved it there, it was not going to do terribly well. And I was wrong. This is a really cool plant. I'm very happy with it. It's neat. You may think the leaves are a little boring, but they look, when you see a bunch of them there, that's just a nice little mass of leaves, It's not fancy, it's green, it's growing, they're velvety to the touch, and very cool. I'm hoping for blooms, but I'm getting a lot of new growth, so I'm going to be happy with that for the time being. This one came from Peckham's in Rhode Island, and it's Hoya nummularioides. And the last odd and end, although he's actually neither, is this beautiful Hoya. And this I'm referring to as Hoya patcharawalai. Now, Hoya patcharawalai is not really native to Thailand, but it's from there. It's an accidental cross, which, according to what I've been able to find out, came out of A.H. Hoyas in Thailand, and it was originally sold as A.H. Seeds 023, Hoya CV patcharawalai 023. It's known as Hoya ekensis or ecensis or ekensis ecensis 023. It's got a whole bunch of different monikers. The reason I ordered it is because, well, there's two reasons. Because those leaves with that margin are just beautiful. I mean, that's just so pretty. And the blossoms are supposed to, I've seen pictures of them. This one has not bloomed for me yet. Although, there is a peduncle in here. Let's see if I can get it to focus on the peduncle. There it is. It's hiding in there, and it's dripping nectar like crazy. And there's still some buds on it, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen. I've been trying to be very good about the water on this one, so it's got water. This is my second one. The first one, if some of you remember the story about my first New Guinea ghost, that it came and it was kind of ratty looking and it had scale on it, and well, in that same order, I ordered a patcharawalai, and the plant that showed up looked absolutely nothing like this. These leaves are broad and flat and smooth and beautiful, and the thing that showed up was a gnarled and wretched mess. And I thought, well, perhaps it's just terribly underwatered. The leaves never flattened out. They never got smooth. They still, to this day, I mean, the plant is dead, and the leaves haven't changed how they looked. It's one of the worst Hoya experiences I've ever had, and there are only two that I can think of bad experiences of buying online, and that one's absolutely one. So this one, once it arrived, has grown, has put out this peduncle. The leaves are just, I mean, wowee. That's really pretty. There's that peduncle. And it's growing like crazy. So I'm hoping for blossoms and plenty more growth. This has just been cool. It's just off my southeast window, so it gets plenty of light. I'm real happy with this one. This one's kind of fun. This is Hoya patcharawalai, or Hoya ecensis, or Hoya ekensis, or Hoya seeds 023. Yeah. And a couple people asked about the pot I had my Hoya pubicalyx in last week's video, and how what was my hack. So this is the pot, and it's a self-watering pot, but it's this kind of self-watering pot. And I'm typically not a fan of these because once it's in there, you can't tell how much water it has, and it's really easy to overwater your plant. But these have this raised stem inside and a plug. And this holds about 2 cups of liquid. Just under 2 cups, or around 470 milliliters. So when you pour the liquid in, if it comes up past this stem, it's going to drain out. And the stem is shorter than the platform. So that solved one of my problems about this kind of pot. So what I tend to do is I went out and bought a 1 pint, 2 cup measuring cup. So when I water the plants, I just pour it in, working on the fact that it's not gonna come up past that platform, and that if it does, I can let it drain out. That really solves my issue. Now, the other thing that I really wanted was that I wanted wick-based self-watering. So I went to that big online store and found wick, and I added wicks to the base. So I tied a knot on each side of the slot here, so they're not going to pull this way or that way. And grace personified. That's my self-watering hack for these. I've moved, at this point, 5 of my hanging plants and 1 of my plants that had formerly been in a net pot with bark and sphagnum, and I kept it in bark and sphagnum. I just filled in the difference and moved it into one of these. That's what you saw in last week's video. And so far, it's been about a month now. These have been working really well. When I water, I just pull the plug out the bottom, pour in the 2 cups, and between the absorption of the substrate and the reservoir in the bottom, I haven't had anything leaking out. The thing to keep in mind is that kind of a substrate, which is cocoa husk chunks and some sphagnum, maybe some tree fern fiber and some fine bark, acts as a wick itself. So you may need to keep an eye on these, but these are now really easy for me to water and maintain a moisture level that I think the plants are going to like. So that's my plant pot hack. And I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. In the comments below, let me know, I'm curious about this, let me know what kind of substrate you're growing your Hoyas in, or in which you are growing your Hoyas. Is it organic, inorganic? Is it leca, pon, bark sphagnum? Let me know, because I'm curious to see what people are doing, just so I know what's going on with my audience. So add that to the comments below. Please remember to hit the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell. They're all really important to the growth of the channel. A lot of the products that you see me use are available in my Amazon storefront, and there's a link in the description. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can click on the link in the description for my Buy Me a Coffee page, or down here, I think, there's the little button with 3 dots on it. Click on that, and there should be a thanks button that shows up, and you can click there. I'm going to post links to a couple more videos over on here, as is usual, and enjoy the rest of your week's end.